You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. Well, most of our listeners need a website, or they have a website, or they need marketing. They need some kind of a digital brand or a presence or a strategy. They need content. There's all kinds of things that you need to be able to run your business successfully. There's a couple of challenges with that. The first is if you don't know what you're doing, too many people let that stop them from building the business they need so they can get the life they want. And their dreams just come to a halt because they don't know how to build a website, or they don't know how to set up an email list. And I have heard of that. I don't think most rebelpreneurs would let that be an obstacle, but I'm surprised at how many people just let the tech that they don't understand get in the way of their dream. The second obstacle is when you realize you need all of these things, the rebelpreneur mindset is, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build my business. So then you try to become an expert in doing it yourself. And it looks like you're doing it yourself, and it looks like that you're practicing doing it yourself, and your prospects are guinea pigs because you don't know what you're doing. And it's so frustrating to see design, websites, marketing strategies, email strategies, where it just looks like you're trying to figure it out as you go along. So I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm saying, can't your energy be better utilized doing whatever it is you do best, and let others who are really gifted in the areas that you're not gifted in, let them take that and run with it so that you don't have to burden yourself. Today's guest is an expert on taking the burden away from small business owners when it comes to your website, design, marketing, all the moving parts that make your business go. I'm speaking today with Sherry Holub. She has over 20 years of experience eliminating stress and worry for small business clients and becoming a trusted partner for their website design and marketing needs. She is known as the creative director, wizard of design, the magic maker, Sherry Holub. Sherry, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thanks, Ralph.
You have such an interesting and exciting philosophy when it comes to actually delivering agency work. Your website is jvmediadesign.com, and your philosophy is very apropos for a lot of the conversations we've been having on here recently about relationships, compassionate capitalism, the human connection. So your philosophy as an agency is we don't just build websites, we build relationships. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you came to that revelation.
Yeah, basically, I started this company when I got out of college with an art degree back in Los Angeles in 1995, and I had been doing graphic design. The web was something very different back then. So I kind of stumbled into it by having a friend who had said, my vocal coach needs a website. Do you do that sort of thing? And naturally, being the entrepreneur that I am, I said, of course I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course I can do that, right? And so, I crammed trying to learn HTML and all that and created this website for her. And amazingly enough, that woman, Liz Lewis, is still a client of mine 24 years later.
Wow.
So it kind of speaks to the fact that I've kind of done things differently over the course of my career, and that I've always been that very real, very human person that really sincerely wants to help others do better business. It was never a model like I want to get the the high-rise office. I want to be one of the madmen. I want to, have 50 employees and 7-figure income. And no, I mean, I want to help people do better. So that's kind of been in the DNA of JV Media since the inception. And, I've learned a lot of things being a small entrepreneur and a small business owner. So small business owners are usually who we help the most. Small businesses, solo entrepreneurs, startups, nonprofits, things like that.
So in your background, you say that you made the mistake early on in your business of trying to do it all. Describe how that became untenable for you. What was the turning point where you realized not only can you not do it all, but you shouldn't do it all?
Yeah, the latter part is the more important revelation to come to, is that you really shouldn't do it all. And usually you have to step in a tiger trap or two to kind of really, just smack you in the head about that. But what I did is I took on a project that I did not have the skills to do, and it was a custom programmed project. So what I had done is I quickly ran into the wall that, I don't have the skill set for this. How can I find somebody really quick? And once you're in the project and then you're trying to look for somebody to do it, that's a great way to, shoot yourself in the foot and have it all blow up in your face. So that's exactly what happened. And I realized from that.
That's like the sharks, they smell the blood in the water at that point.
Oh, yeah, totally. So that kind of desperation, is palatable. But, I tried to find a programmer on the fly. That totally bit me in the butt. The guy didn't produce. He ran off with my money. So,
wow.
I kind of was the client in that respect, that hired someone who said they could do something they couldn't. You find that out. You get that sinking feeling. Money is just evaporating out of your bank account. It was one of those scenarios. And luckily that happened really early on, in the first few years of me doing this. So I realized then I've got to put some effort into finding experts that are on my level of, I really care about this business. I know my work reflects that business. I need to find a programmer who's on that page. So it took me a while, probably about a good 12 to 24 months of trying out different folks to really find someone who was on that page. And that person is still with me today, too, as part of my team. So when you find someone that is on that level, that complements your skill set, I'm very good at the creative stuff, at the marketing stuff, at the interfacing with the client stuff. When you find people who can complement what you do, it takes you to a whole other level. It alleviates that stress for you. So I've experienced this myself. So I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And I know what a great relief it can be to find someone like that.
Absolutely. Well, the probably one of the biggest challenges to small business is the owner. If you can get the owner out of the way, usually if the business is sound, the business will grow, but often it is the owner who has his hand or her hand in everything that's going on. And so the business is limited by the very person who says that they want it to grow. And there are a lot of do-it-yourself options out there. I mean, we've got, now, you can go out there and create your own website, supposedly. Where is the value in a business owner saying, I'm not going to do the do-it-yourself stuff because it lacks some things that I need? And how do you provide what they can't get someplace else like that?
Right. It really is that kind of expertise and that year's worth of knowledge built up when it comes to marketing and design and what works, functionality on the web and user interface. And there's all kinds of components to that. It's not pick a template, click a button, write some content, which is what all of those DIY, services are kind of promoted as.
Yeah, and they're even
get a website in minutes.
Yes, and even today, it's more than just a website. They're trying to create your whole online sales and conversion process at the touch of a button. I'm not going to give any free advertising out, but we know who they are, and that what that assumes, and maybe it's a correct assumption for some situations, but it assumes that the business owner's highest and best use of their time is to sit there and tweak their website and build these different sales funnels and come up with the marketing things on their own. And really, that is something that's a full-time job for someone, not even getting into actually delivering the product or the service that they're trying to market. And I think a lot of business owners really underestimate the creativity, the time, the energy that goes into making these things work. And that's really where you help by eliminating stress and worry and becoming a trusted partner for them. And I really like that. And that is going to help the business scale much faster and really have a greater impact without the stress. A lot more fun, a lot less stress by not trying to micromanage things that you really don't know what you're doing. And the joke I tell all the time is the client, the stereotypical client sitting over your shoulder while you're designing and saying, "Can you move that 5 pixels to the left?" I mean, really?
Yeah.
So you've probably experienced some of that. What is the greatest challenge when someone reaches out to you? They're probably at a certain point in their business. What is the greatest challenge at that point in converting someone from that do-it-yourself mentality to giving you the opportunity to do what you do best for them?
Well, usually they've hit some sort of wall or multiple walls or roadblocks where they realize that what we do, experts in my field, is very much like one of those onion processes. Like, okay, there's the surface level and then there's all these layers underneath. Once they get into, maybe they've put up a website and it's not doing anything. So then they're like, okay, so now what do I got to do?
Yeah, I built that, and then they get down
this rabbit hole. They just fall down this rabbit hole of like, oh, okay, so now I have to do marketing, and now I have to know what my customer persona is. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And they realize, they're spending their nights and their weekends and their time away from their family and activities trying to figure this out. I just talked to someone last month where that was exactly her scenario. Is she got a WordPress template and she was going to do it herself,
Yeah.
And she quickly found out that putting that template even together was like a nightmare. She spent hours and hours and hours doing that. And I had talked with her on the phone for maybe about 40 minutes or so. And finally she just stops and she says, talking to you is like feeling like I can take a full breath again. Like I'm going to have a weekend this weekend.
Wow.
Like she hired me on the phone. I didn't even submit a proposal or anything.
Wow.
Because she realized, that I have the knowledge and everything to get this done for her, take it off of her plate and roll with it. She had content done and I said, I can step in and I can organize this all for you. I can get this site up and running. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And being able to deliver that, is the second part of it where, they truly can just not worry about it anymore. But yeah, she was spending weekends and, all this time on this one thing and just getting nowhere. It just was one thing after another that, oh, well, now this doesn't work, or, oh, well, now what do I do with this? Or, So all of that was just basically, alleviated for her. So that's kind of what can happen when you do work with an expert who's got your back. They're there for you. They are interested in learning about you and your business and your customers, and what are your goals? What are your long-time goals? What's even your personal goal? Like why you're running this business because you want to spend more time with your family, go on vacations more, whatever it is, it's nice to know that so that you really build that relationship with someone. And it gives you more investment in their business. You really do want them to succeed at that point.
Everything you're saying is so appropriate. The support system for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, rebelpreneurs, in a lot of cases, it is just non-existent. They are working on their own. They're in, the bat cave, right? They lock themselves up into the bat cave, and they're going to build this business, but first they've got to build this stupid website. They don't know what they're doing, and they go nuts trying to put together all of these things and create things. And the frustrating thing is, it's so evident, it's so obvious to everybody except to them when their design falls short, when their marketing collateral doesn't collateralize or whatever. I mean, when stuff it's just not working, and they're
not getting ROI.
Yeah. And just think of the investment of time and energy that is being wasted. And people say, well, I have to do it this way because I can't afford to pay somebody to do this. But look at what you're paying and look at what you're spending in terms of time and energy. So I would imagine that a better strategy is not to say I can't afford it, but figure out how can I afford it? How can I shift my priorities and spend more time doing what I'm good at that's going to bring money in the door so that then I can build my team, build my creative team behind me who's going to support me. That's so critically important. What should they begin thinking about as, they hit this wall and they realize, I've gone about as far as I can go with this, and now I'm stuck. And then it's either keep banging your head against the wall or do it yourself approach that looks like crap. What is the alternative moving forward? What's a third way that they can consider?
Well, it's definitely reaching out for expert help. The problem is that a lot of times when people find themselves in that situation, they don't know where to turn. They may just go to Google, search, web design in my area or something, and then they come up with a bunch of things, and they don't know what to do with that, whether those people are good, whether, So then there is an amount of research you would have to do just in individuals. And I'm a real big advocate for educating people on what to look for, how a professional relationship works with a designer or marketer. But if someone wants to go that route, they do have to take these steps to try and, vet these people. The other option is to ask your network, because there's got to be at least one person in your network that's hired a developer, had a good experience, had their logo created, something like that could give you a little bit of push. I would say probably 80% of our clients come from referrals from happy clients. So ask your network. That's should be like a go-to thing about when you're in that situation, you need help in design or marketing, ask your network. If you go to any networking events or anything, ask around. Like, hey, do you guys have like a really good, developer? Can you point me in the right direction? That's really invaluable. If you get a good referral, half the work is done for you. You really just have to pick up the phone, call, see if they're their whole vibe works with what you want, if they're intuitive with what your needs are, if they ask the right questions, meaning do they want to get to know you? Do they really show concern for, what you're doing to make you successful? And it really is a partnership like that. So that's what you should be looking for. But yeah, asking for referrals, I think, is a key way to kind of get unstuck. That's
useful. That one little bit of advice right there is worth the cost of admission. Because I can imagine people be like, well, okay, let me go find someone to do this. And if you type that into Google, you're going to be so overwhelmed. I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to say, forget it. I'd rather do it myself. And then you're back to where you started from. So exactly. ask your network people, especially if you see that they're doing something right or they've got something that is aesthetically pleasing. It's in the style. You don't have to copy someone else, but it's helpful to have someone to point you in the right direction. And I would think too, when they actually meet with you, you take them through a creative process as well. And you could probably, or perhaps, and very often come up with solutions they haven't even thought of that would be a perfect fit for them, design and marketing wise.
Oh, absolutely. When I do, I offer free phone calls, just little consultations where, there's a little bit of a get to know you to see if, we're a good fit. And then even if we aren't, I try and leave someone with some sort of value from my knowledge and expertise over the years of what direction they can go in or some options they can take to make some steps in the right direction to help them out.
So that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And that will, yet again, that's fitting into your philosophy of let's eliminate stress and worry. And a lot of that stress and worry is reaching out and talking to someone, doing the consultation. So that is really, I think that's really helpful. So if someone is listening to this and you're struggling in this area, you should reach out to Sherry and her team. It's jvmediadesign.com and check their website out. There's a big button at the top, free estimates. And I guess that's going to kickstart the process of having a conversation and seeing if you are a good fit for Sherry and her team. And if so, then super. Sherry, what are you working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, truth be told, I'm kind of excited about every project we take in because
that's good.
I really get to know people and each business is so unique. And even when we have two people in the same industry, it's different,
Yeah.
But one local company came in recently that I was pretty excited about because I had been kind of courting them for probably about 12 months. As they kind of work through their internal process of choosing someone for when they sent out an RFP. And they're a local family-operated dairy company that's been in business since 1931. So a lot of history, a lot of interesting stuff. And they're on that page of family's important. Real people are important. We care about our employees. We care about our customers. So that really resonated with me. And I got to go on a tour of their factory too, which was pretty fun.
Wow.
So that's a fun project, and we're going to be redesigning their site.
Very exciting. So you're working, and just to give this context, you are working with brick and mortar businesses that have been around for decades, and also with internet businesses and startups and small business brands. So this is really, I hope this gives hope and inspiration to people that are listening, not to take the do-it-yourself route. And if you're on that route, take the next exit and go visit jvmediadesign.com. Reach out to Sherry and her team and see how they can help eliminate stress and worry for you. Well, Sherry, this has really been educational. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave us with?
Well, just that finding partners who support you is just so critical in a business, especially when you're small, because you can't do it all yourself. Even if you have the skills to do something, should you do it all yourself becomes the question. And, you'll just run yourself ragged if you do. So finding those partners is a real key component to successful business.
Very well said. And it does require a mindset shift, especially, as I said in the beginning, with do-it-yourself entrepreneurs, bootstrappers. I'm going to go in there and figure it out. Nothing can stop me. Just ask yourself, just because you know how to change the oil in your car, is that really where you need to be spending your time right now? So ask yourself the same question about your website. Even if you do figure out how to build a world-class website, which can take experts more than 20 years to really craft this as an art. Okay. It's not something you can crank out in one weekend. Even if you could figure that out, is that really the best investment of your time, energy, and money? Because if you're doing that, you're not doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing as you build the business you need to create the life that you want. And I'm the same way, Sherry. I realized I don't want to spend my life tinkering around with my website. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us and with our listeners. Sherry Holub has over 20 years of experience eliminating stress and worry for small business clients and becoming a trusted partner for their website design and marketing needs. You can find out more at jvmediadesign.com. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Sherry, thank you so much. And I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.